This boy grew up with his single mother and always struggled to fit in the society because of his weird skin color. Little did he know, he is the only son of the king of monsters who planned to wipe away humans. Several years ago, the humans started a war with a realm of monsters called kaiju. It kept going on until the king of kaijus, Belloc, fell in love with a gorgeous woman named Margaret. They even had a child together whom they named Duncan. Belloc and other kaijus disappeared all of a sudden, and the humans continued living their normal lives. It's been 16 years since then. Margaret has been taking care of her son alone, but Duncan struggles to fit in the society because of his weirdly orange-colored skin. Of course, he cannot be normal being a son of a monster. Despite this fact, Margaret wants her son to live a normal life, and she admits him in a good high school. But Duncan is scared to get in public as the bullies immediately draw towards him because of his appearance. He is absolutely right, because as soon as he steps out of his house, a bunch of bullies start making fun of his skin color. After reaching the school, everyone weirdly stares at Duncan, which makes him nervous, and he bumps into a student. She is a beautiful girl named Jenna who accidentally spilled her coffee on Duncan. But Duncan does not mind, and Jenna gets impressed by his politeness and introduces herself. She is also surprised that Duncan isn't burned by the hot coffee. In response, Duncan says that he is always cold and wishes that the school had a better heating system. Being a part of the student council, Jenna promises to look into this matter, but right now she needs to attend a class. Duncan also proceeds to his classroom, but the students don't seem welcoming towards him, and he is forced to sit with Kenny, who also seemed left out by the class. Later that day, Duncan attends the science lesson, and Jenna is there too. The teacher is explaining the functioning of amphibians and hands over a frog specimen to all of the students. Jenna is an animal rights activist and starts arguing with the teacher for torturing the poor frogs. Suddenly, Duncan notices that the frog on Jenna's tray is not normal. He must do something before others notice it too. He grabs his own frog and starts to pretend that the frog is alive. Then he intentionally falls on Jenna's tray and hides the specimen in his jacket. He gets called a jerk, but it was all worth it because the specimen was a baby kaiju. After the class, Kenny's friend Isabel starts asking Duncan what he is hiding. She loves studying creepy stuff, especially kaiju. Kenny calls the kaiju monsters, which offends Duncan. He explains that the kaijus only fought because the humans tried to kill them. It's been 16 years since they haven't shown up, so it cannot be said that kaijus are a threat. On seeing the one Duncan caught, Isabel immediately remembers what she read about them. It's a Gamorodon. They depend on kaijus and live on the slime that forms between the kaiju's scales. While trying to have a closer look, Duncan loses the Gamorodon and it runs away immediately. Later that day, the school bullies break into Jenna's locker and steal something. Afterwards, they get back to join the gym class. They are having a new gym teacher named Blitz. However, he is actually an undercover agent from a secret government authority called Megtaf. Blitz and Duncan know each other already. In the previous school, Blitz was disguised as the vice principal, but he got bored soon. Blitz asks the students to practice dodgeball, which gives the bullies a chance to tease the other students. They gather around Kenny and get ready to hit him with the balls. All of a sudden, Duncan reaches there and grabs the balls. Then he keeps dodging all the balls like a professional and surprises all the students. Blitz realizes the gravity of the situation and stops the match. However, the bullies are ready for revenge. They surround Duncan in the locker room and threaten to beat him to death. Duncan cannot afford to fight with them and runs away from the bullies. He jumps around the school like a freestyle ninja and succeeds in leaving the bullies behind. He almost escapes the campus, but gets stuck with one of the bullies named Troy. Duncan screams in anger and unintentionally breathes fire. Blitz notices them and immediately takes away Duncan. They head to a secret lab in Megtaf base where the doctor checks the developments in Duncan's body. His strength has been growing steadily since birth, but his natural fight-or-flight response triggered the fire breath. So Duncan needs to be more careful in future if he wants to keep his identity hidden. The doctor believes that Duncan isn't a threat to humans, as he will soon develop control over his powers, so there's no reason to worry. His mother reaches the laboratory and scolds Blitz for bringing Duncan without her permission. She had a contract with the secret agencies which allowed Duncan to lead a normal life. Therefore, Margaret does not want anyone to work on Duncan's powers. Blitz understands her concern and promises to keep Duncan's identity a secret. The next day at school, he tells the principal that the fire breath was just an illusion Duncan did with some flash powder. The principal accepts the excuse and asks Duncan and Troy to clean the school grounds as a punishment. Duncan tries to apologize for his mistake, but Troy still believes that Duncan is a freak with creepy powers. Isabel notices them and asks Duncan if he's going to attend the party tonight. It's an open party, so anyone can join. As most of the students will be there, it's a good chance for Duncan to socialize. Later that night, Duncan dresses up casually and goes to the party. His actual purpose of joining is to get closer to Jenna, but she does not seem well today. She was the chairwoman of the homecoming party, but the money collected for this event has been stolen from her locker. Now everyone is assuming that Jenna is lying. She is really frustrated by the situation and does not know how to prove herself innocent. Troy interrupts them and asks Jenna to stay away from Duncan. He does not want his girlfriend to talk to a freak. Suddenly, Troy's father arrives in anger and takes back Troy as he is grounded for a few days. Duncan playfully says that Troy must be wishing for his dad to disappear, but Jenna does not like the joke and leaves. Isabel hears them and tells Duncan that Jenna's father is dead. That's why she was offended by the joke. Duncan wants to go and apologize to Jenna, but before he can do that, there's sudden chaos in the party. A few Gomorodons have sneaked into the house. After a while, the ground cracks and Belloc emerges from it. Isabel wonders why Belloc returned after such a long time, but Duncan knows that Belloc has come for him. He asks Isabel to run away while he gets caught by Belloc. He takes his son to an abandoned land and uses his fire breath to open a secret passage. Belloc reveals that the kaijus aren't invaders. They were living on this planet before the humans arrived. Duncan begs to let him go. He wants to live a normal human life, but it cannot change the fact that he is half kaiju. The human world has softened his heart, but Belloc wants his son to become strong and remorseless so he can become the next king. A huge war is predicted between the kaijus and the humans. Belloc cannot carry this burden alone and gathers all of his tribe to announce Duncan as the heir. Then he throws his son in the burning lava that awakes the true powers of Duncan and changes his appearance as well. Duncan blasts out a huge fire and falls unconscious from the impact. The next morning, Duncan opens his eyes in the middle of nowhere. He cannot face his mother like this, so he heads to Kenny's house. He thought that Kenny would freak out by his appearance, but Kenny seems really calm. There is news about the kaiju attack and threats all over the television, so Duncan is not as scary as the current circumstances. Moreover, Isabel has told Kenny that Belloc is Duncan's father. She shares everything with Kenny, so he always feels a strong connection with her. Duncan starts telling Kenny everything he experienced last night. Beside being the king of monsters, Belloc is really ungrateful and demanding. He expects so much from his son. Once Duncan calms down a little, he asks Kenny about his family. It's not a normal one either. His dad always disappears for days and weeks, and then suddenly returns. Kenny believes his dad must be a spy or something. Duncan promises to keep this a secret, and in exchange, Kenny must also refrain from mentioning that it was Duncan's dad who crashed the party last night. Suddenly, they get a call from Margaret, who is looking for her son everywhere. After picking up Duncan, she calls Blitz and asks him to give protection to her son. Blitz assures that half of Megtaf is scouring the desert to find Belloc, but Margaret is not satisfied, as such a huge army cannot find a 120-foot giant. Duncan asks his mother to calm down, as it's not the government fault. It was Margaret's choice to marry Belloc. Margaret feels hurt by hearing that Duncan blames her despite the efforts she made. She did everything to protect his son and give him a good life. Duncan does not agree because he thinks all these efforts are in vain, as nobody can stop a giant monster like his dad. Margaret calms herself down and reminds Duncan that his dad is not as bad as he thinks. He went through a lot. She does not expect him to understand, but Duncan has to accept that Margaret loved Belloc and he's their only son. The next day, Margaret forces Duncan to go to school regardless of his appearance. Luckily, it does not turn out as bad as Duncan expected. Everyone seems to be admiring him. It's all thanks to Kenny. He told all the students that Duncan distracted the monsters, lured him away, and saved everyone. He also lied that the changes in Duncan's body is due to the impact of Belloc's fire breath. Now Duncan has become the coolest kid in school, and everyone is dying to talk to him except Troy. He still hates Duncan. Isabel also comes to check on Duncan, but he notices Jenna and excuses himself to carry out an urgent task. Duncan had brought a crystal from the kaiju hideout. He leaves the crystal in Jenna's locker so she can sell it to recover the loss of homecoming savings. Jenna gets really excited to see the crystal and her mood immediately lifts up. She also starts talking to Duncan again and admires his brave attempt last night. Duncan takes this chance to apologize about his stupid joke, but it seems like Jenna has forgiven him already. She also shows her interest to go to the homecoming party with Duncan, and he accepts the offer right away. Afterwards, he joins Blitz to get a checkup by the doctor. Blitz notices the changes in Duncan's behavior and asks him how he managed to get a girl like Jenna. Duncan changes the topic and points out the direction they are going, as it does not seem like the way to the Megtaff base. Blitz takes him to the desert and asks Duncan to try recognizing where Belloc took him. This is the deal Margaret made with Megtaff. They will allow Duncan to live in freedom, and in exchange he has to help them in locating the kaijus. Duncan does not want to become a personal monster detector for Megtaff, but he has no option. Suddenly, they get hit by a sandstorm and their jet is destroyed. Blitz is saved by the parachute while Duncan falls straight down. He encounters a kaiju and starts defending himself. After a while, Belloc appears there as well. He's the one who sent the kaiju to fight Duncan so his fighting skills can improve. He also announced that any kaiju who defeats Duncan can become the next successor. Duncan avoids hitting back as he does not want to become a monster like his dad. The kaiju crushes Duncan between two giant rocks, but Duncan escapes that as well. He defeats the kaiju, but does not want to kill it. Suddenly, someone shoots from behind. It's Blitz, who has brought the whole Megtaff army to capture Belloc. They start attacking Belloc continuously without any reason. Duncan asks them to stop as Belloc has no intention of harming them. He only came to get his son. Blitz does not care about that and orders his team to kill Belloc. But Duncan does not leave the way and keeps begging for mercy for his dad. Belloc notices the helplessness of his son and decides to surrender. He does not want Duncan to suffer like he did. The Megtaff agents immediately wrap up the Kaiju King and lock him in a temporary cage made in the mountain. Duncan is confused, but he has another matter to take care of. He rushes home and gets dressed up for the homecoming party. Then he picks Jenna, but brings his friends along too. Margaret is also there to give them a ride to the venue. After reaching the party, Duncan feels really nervous as he has never been to such a gathering before. Jenna asks him to forget about his skin color and focus on enjoying the night. Isabel is staring at them from afar and ignores Kenny, who is sitting right beside her. He keeps trying to talk to her, but Isabel is too busy getting jealous of Jenna because she likes Duncan too. After a while, everyone gathers near the stage to hear the names of this year's homecoming king and queen. It turns out to be Troy and Jenna. Now they have to dance together according to tradition. Jenna does not want to interact with her ex-boyfriend, but Duncan assures her that it's not a big deal. Just a quick dance, and it will be over. While Jenna is dancing with Troy, Isabel rushes to dance with Duncan. Kenny does not like that, and starts arguing with his friends in a loud voice. In anger, he accidentally says that Isabel likes Duncan only because he is the son of Belloc. Jenna hears that and starts getting scared of Duncan. Poor Duncan realizes that he can never live a normal life, so he leaves the party. Kenny eventually realizes his mistake, but it's too late. Suddenly, a bunch of Gamorodons appear in the party and start messing with everyone. The next moment, two kaijus break into the party and attack the humans. Luckily, Duncan arrives in time and orders the monsters to stay away from his friends. He distracts the kaijus and leads them towards the desert so no humans get injured in their fight. Margaret rushes to help her son, but Jenna also offers to give a hand. They get inside a school bus, which is actually a high-tech jet in disguise. Jenna notices the crystal necklace around Margaret's neck and realizes that it was Duncan who helped her with the crystal. After landing near the Belloc's cage, Margaret grabs a gun and goes to talk to her husband. She asks him about the kaijus who attacked Duncan. Belloc calls those kaijus traitors. He has no intention of harming his son, and that's why he let the humans lock him up. But now it's time for a dad to help his son. Belloc breaks out of the cage easily and even gets across the death barrier as well. Blitz is really angry and blames everything on Duncan. He calls Duncan a monster and tries to kill him too. Suddenly a kaiju arrives behind them, and Duncan pulls out his wings to save Blitz despite the rude things he said. After dropping Blitz at a safe location, Duncan gets back to fight the kaijus. They team up to defeat Duncan and trap him. The kaijus proceeds to kill Duncan, but Belloc arrives in time to save his son. Margaret and Jenna also reach there with guns and attack the kaijus. Belloc is injured after passing through the death barrier, and he gets trapped by the kaijus. Duncan breaks out and heads to the top of the mountain. He uses his fire breath to melt the snow, and it slides down the hill. Duncan rescues Jenna and Belloc saves Margaret while the kaijus get frozen by the snow. Belloc surrenders in front of the authorities again, as he does not want to trouble his son anymore. It's best for Duncan to stay with his mom and try leading a normal life. Jenna finally gets a chance to talk to Duncan and apologizes for her rude behavior. Duncan has forgiven her already and promises to meet her again at the school on Monday because his mom won't let him skip classes. However, he is still a kaiju, so he will not take the bus, but fly with his large wings. No matter if your parents are humans or 100-foot giant monsters, they will love you unconditionally and always sacrifice their own happiness to fulfill your dreams.